Yo, what is up guys? Once again, I just want to say thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. It really means a lot na pinapanood nyo to. I mean, wala naman ako nakukuha sahod dito. However, it just feels good na people appreciate the things that you're passionate about and at the same time, nakakatulong pa. But anyway, let's start. For today's video, we are going to discuss about quasi-delicts. So once again, this is another form of obligation and it is governed by Article 2176 of the Civil Code. To start, ang pinaka-highlight natin dito is whoever by act or omission causes damage to another, there being fault or negligence, is obliged to pay for the damage done. Sa madaling salita po, kung yung mga kilos o desisyon mo ay nakapahamak ng ibang tao, intentional mo man to ginawa o may kapababayaan ka, negligence, syempre, you have civil liability or you have to pay for the damage done. Pero tatandaan nyo, this is a quasi. Ibig po sabihin, katulad ng quasi-contract, wala po tayong kontrata ulit or walang pre-existing na pinag-usapan. But the law recognizes it as such. So, I wanna highlight the difference between quasi-delict and torts para mas maintindihan natin yung meaning ng delict. When we say delict, this is basically saying fault or these are any wrongful acts or omissions, whether intentional or unintentional. Pero if you say quasi-delict, it automatically becomes a wrongful act or omission na hindi naman criminal. So paano ba natin masasabi na hindi ito criminal? Well, ang magdi-decide nun is yung korte. Pero kasi, generally speaking, kung intentional kasi yung act, for example, sinapak mo yung tao, kahit saan mo tignan, that is intentional eh. Whether it's due to emotion or logical mo siyang ginawa, that is intentional. If you punch someone, that is already punishable sa physical injury and yung law na mag-govern nun is no longer the civil code, rather the revised penal code. Pero that doesn't mean na unintentional acts cannot be considered as criminal. And doon napapasok yung konsepto ng criminal negligence. Again, nasa revised penal code pa rin po yun. Siguro narinig mo na yung term na reckless imprudence. Naririnig natin yung kadalasan sa balita, tama ba? Kasi kahit hindi mo namang intention na makasakit ng tao, pero there is an obvious danger and ginawa mo pa rin, it can be considered as criminal. For example, alam mo nang lasing ka at may tama ka pero naisipan mo pa rin mag-drive. Even though hindi mo naman intention makasakit. Pag nakasakit ka ng ibang tao, you will have civil liability and you will have criminal liability as well kasi baka pwedeng tignan to ng korte as endangering public safety. Hindi lamang yung tao yung pinarwisyo mo, yung buong public, and that is criminal. Now, I wanna highlight torts. Malaki kasi yung pinagkaiba ng quasi-delict sa torts. And kaya ko to sinasabi kasi ang dami kong kakilala na nagsasabing parehas lang yan. And logically speaking, no, they do sound the same kasi when we say torts, this is basically civil wrong or a tort is a wrongful act or omission that causes harm or injury to another person. Kinda like the same sa quasi-delict pero for me magkaiba yan. Once again, para sa akin lang because there are attorneys who would argue na they're technically the same. But my argument is, pag sinabi kasing tort, this is a common law concept na ginagamit kahit sa ibang bansa. For example, the US and UK. And even though ginagamit din naman to sa Pilipinas, pag sinabing quasi-delict, this is a civil law concept na generally used in the Philippines. If you try to say the word quasi-delict sa mga American attorneys, they may not relate to you. And sa ibang bansa, malawak kasi yung scope ng torts. It may include negligence, which is under quasi-delict as well, pero it also may include defamation, nuances, and other mga intentional na acts. Now, it's safe to say na ang pinaka-synonym ng quasi-delict is culpa achilliana. Culpa is basically a Latin term for fault or blame. So, ano naman yung achilliana? Well, sa Latin din siya, pero more on referencing Roman law po siya, specifically sa Lex Aquilia. Pero ano na yun? Ancient Rome na yun. Ang gusto kong i-highlight dito is that may dalawang klase ng culpa kasi. Yung isa, culpa contractual, ibig sabihin negligence happened with a contract. Pero ang i-highlight ko is yung quasi-delict or culpa akilana, which is negligence that happened without a contract. For example, di ba sa mga establishments, pag basa yung sahig, generally, may nakalagay dun na caution, wet floor. What if may nadulas pero walang nakalagay dun? And syempre, hopefully wala naman nangyaring masama, nadulas lang. Tumayo na lang yung tao and nagtawanan na lang yung mga magkakaibigan, nagsorry yung establishment, and then okay na yun. Pero worst case scenario, what if may napilayan, or may mamahaling document na nabasa, or basically mga bagay na nagpapalala sa sitwasyon. The big question is this a criminal liability or a civil liability lang? As I said nga po kanina, ang magdi-decide nun is yung korte. Hindi naman po kasi yan as simple as gusto mo magsampa ng kaso may makukulong agad. No, hindi po ganun yun. Pag nagsampa ka ng kaso, titignan po muna ito ng prosecutor and they will review the evidence and check if there's enough probable cause. Only then they will file a formal charge sa court. Kung nadulas ka lang at wala naman talagang nangyaring sobrang lala sa'yo, it's possible na baka ma-dismiss na lang. De minimis non curat lex. The law does not concern itself with trifles. With that said, let's have a look at Article 2179 of the Civil Code, which states, when the plaintiffs, so ano ba ibig sabihin ng plaintiffs? Ibig po sabihin yan, siya po yung nagsampa ng kaso. And when we say naman defendant, siya po yung sinampahan ng kaso. So again, when the plaintiff's own negligence was the immediate and proximate cause of his injury, he cannot recover damages. Ibig po sabihin nito, after tignan yung investigation and napansin na ang pinaka may kasalanan pala kung bakit na-injured yung taong to is because dahil sa sarili niya ring kapabayaan, wala po siyang marirecover na damages. Halimbawa, yung example kanina, if nadulas ka kasi wet yung floor, pero may nakalagay naman dun na caution, wet floor, tapos nagsampa ka ng kaso, and after investigation, nakita naman na ikaw talaga may kasalanan kasi di ka tumitingin, well, kung ano man yung damages na na-receive mo from that accident, the establishment is not liable. But, if his negligence was only contributory, the plaintiff may recover damages. So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng contributory? Ibig sabihin, balik po ulit tayo sa example natin kanina about sa basang sahig. Let's say walang caution sign nakalagay doon. Pero ikaw naman kasi, tumatakbo ka ng mabilis. At dahil doon, nadulas ka. So even though may civil liability talaga dito yung establishment, ikaw mismo ang nagdagdag or nag-contribute sa mga reasons kung bakit ka na-aksidente in the first place. Kaya ang titignan dito is the immediate and proximate cause of the injury being the defendant's lack of due care. Sa buong Article 2179, anuman yung reason, the court shall mitigate the damages to be awarded. Hindi po yung plaintiff or yung nagreklamo ang magre-request kung magkano dapat ang kanyang ma-receive due to the negligence of the defendant. Now, skip naman agad tayo sa Article 2180, which highlights kung sino yung mga pwedeng maging responsible or liable kahit hindi naman talaga sila yung may kasalanan. Pero dahil may mga acts or persons under their supervision or control, pwede silang maging liable. So, in short, indirect yung kanilang liability. Halimbawa, yung mga magulang, meron silang obligasyon para alagaan ang kanilang mga anak, obviously. So, if they're minor children, obviously under their control or supervision, does damages, edi yung magulang po ang liable dito. Same na rin po sa mga employers. Pag yung mga empleyado nila ay nagkaroon ng acts or omissions, nag-cause ng quasi-delict, ang liable po dito is yung employers. Sama mo na rin dito yung mga teachers. Pero ang pinaka-cute sa article na to, I wanna highlight the state. Pwede mong sampahan yung state as if it's a private person. So when we say state, that's like the Philippines in general. Pwede mong kasuhan yung Philippines in general. The Philippine government rather. Kasi nag-hire sila ng special agent. When we say special agent, this is not a regular government official. Rather, appointed lang siya for a specific job or mission, temporarily. And they act on behalf of the state. Parang private agent lang. If by any chance they commit a quasi-delict, then the state can be held liable. Now, kung iisipin mo, sa lahat ng mga sinabi ko kanina, parang medyo unfair naman, di ba? Like, di ba medyo unfair na liable yung magulang sa mga kagagawan ng kanilang anak na hindi naman porkit minor, makatakas na agad sila. Kasi ang mga bata, even though hindi pa sila super cognitively developed, they are sovereign in their own rights. Meron silang free will. Kaya dito na papasok yung pinaka-last part ng Article 2180 of the Civil Code, which highlights the responsibility treated of in this article shall cease. Ibig po sabihin yan, yung mga responsibilidad ng mga na-mention ko kanina, yung mga teachers, government itself, magulang, employee, their responsibilities will cease when the persons herein mentioned prove that they observed all the diligence of a good father of a family to prevent damage. In short, kung napatunayan naman sa korte na hindi naman sila nagkulang sa pag-aalaga sa kanilang mga anak, estudyante o mga tauhan, edi okay na yun. Walang mangyayari sa kanila, they will not be held liable. The standard of care na tinitignan ng batas is yung diligence of a good father. So, paano ba kumilos dapat ang isang ama sa isang pamilya? Diba dapat may matinding pag-aalaga sa kanyang pamilya, proactive mag-isip. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng possible na scenario or problema, iniisip na agad in the future para kung sakaling dumating yung problema, alam yung gagawin. Diligence of a good father of a family is a legal standard used sa Philippine civil law to measure how careful and responsible a person should be in fulfilling their duties.